You're listening to Live Wild Radio, the part-time adventure podcast.
Join us as we explore how outdoor adventures build mind, body, and spirit.
Welcome back, friends. It's episode number 25. I'm Winston.
I'm Catherine.
And this is Live Wild Radio, as our funky jungle intro would have just put you in. So this basically is our year in review.
Yeah.
Or 1 year anniversary.
Oh my God.
Like literally January 1st last year was our first episode.
That's right.
And now we have 25 of them.
That's crazy. What do you think about that?
Well, on the one hand, it feels like, we've created something.
Uh-huh.
But then I was watching episode 1400 of the Joe Rogan Experience. And it's like,
we've got a ways to go.
We're lazy bitches.
You know what? I'm just thinking about how initially we were so excited to get this off the ground. And I'm like, oh yeah, once a week. I'm so glad we didn't do that.
Yeah.
That would have been way too much.
Yeah. It turns out
stressful.
It turns out when you don't have an assistant to put it up.
Yeah.
And you edit yours.
Yeah.
You don't just put them up live.
So this is a call it. Anybody want to volunteer?
And you actually have like a job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not to say that Rogan's not busy.
Right.
But he has Jamie.
That's right.
Right. Plus, if you don't edit your podcast, right, you broadcast it live.
Yeah.
And then it's just whatever that recording was. That's what it
true.
is.
Because I used to spend easy like 8 hours on editing a podcast, figuring it all out. And we, tried new equipment and different equipment and figuring that out. And yeah, so we're getting better at it. I think I only spend like 2-3 hours now, max.
Yeah. Whereas if you just sort of record it in one take and just put it out,
yeah,
it dramatically cut down on the amount of work you do.
For sure. Yeah. So we're getting better.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. 25 episodes. It's not only that, we have a website. That was an interesting process, right, Winston?
Yeah.
I thought I wanted to kill you. We pretty much did it in 2 days? Something like that.
I think it took longer, with sort of the layout of it.
Yeah. But so for folks who haven't seen it, just go livewildradio.com or .ca. But I'm really proud of it. I mean, it's super simple. You have your podcast, you've got your adventure library.
And then the About Us. And watch, someday we'll put a merch store on there.
That'd be cool. Which we actually have t-shirts out there already. But
they're not linked to the website or anything.
No. Winston, you've been publishing this year. And both for others, but also for our website. So want to talk about that?
Basically, my schooling in, college was journalism. So... and I've been writing my whole life. But what's interesting is over the years, because I used to do a lot of freelance writing, and basically as the internet grew, the amount people would pay you for freelancing just kept dropping. And what's cool, now that people have figured out how to make money off the internet, then it's going back up again on what they're willing to pay for you to write stuff.
That's great.
So, quick plug, if you need any writing about outdoor and adventure... look me up.
Yeah.
But then I write the same kind of stuff for our site.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, writing is like teaching on paper, right? So
which you're really good at, so it's natural.
Yeah. So when I'm dealing with, particularly these are topics. It's kind of cool. I like writing about topics I know about, right? Because it actually sounds authentic. Like there's quite a bit of people who they're freelance writers, but they'll just write about whatever, and they're researching, but it doesn't sound real.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they don't use the terminology,
and they don't really know it.
Yeah,
and they make mistakes that even I caught in my first months of climbing.
Yeah. So you run into that thing where and you can always learn more, and I'm always studying and trying new things and what have you, but you run into the chance where you can create something that can help people on their endeavors, right? Get better at their backpacking or climbing or fitness or whatever they happen to be reading about. And the thing that I love with written things, especially with the internet, is it's there forever. When last, I think it was probably November, we started talking about this. What did you envision?
Before we actually created Live Wild Radio, it was about wilderness outdoor adventures. it was about doing treks, especially with kids, right? But bringing others along. And then I realized liability, but more so, I think what deterred me, aside from the liability, is like, I may not like these people. So why would I want to be a slave? So we just kind of rethought it some more. And then you talked about doing a podcast, and that was really new to me. And I was actually super nervous about that because our sense of humor not on air is, inappropriate. But at the end of the day, we're super stoked and passionate about adventures, all kinds, and growing, and the growth you get from it, like you hear in our tagline or in our intro of this podcast, that, exploring outdoor adventures I don't know, grow mind.
You don't even know what our little. You recorded that a year ago.
I know. What was it?
It's mind, body, and spirit.
We explore adventures. That what?
Yeah. See, we explore how adventure helps you grow in mind, body, and
it does. Spirit. It does. Totally believe in that. I mean,
although I'm still skeptical that the spirit exists.
Yes,
I think it all comes...
Where's the data? Where's the science?
Well, it all comes out of... Like, if you shoot somebody in the head, I guarantee their spirit's gone.
Yeah. But...
Or at least we have no evidence that it carries on.
But I think, with the episode, what I originally envisioned was... I really didn't know, but I knew... Let's just do this. Let's interview people. At the end of the day, I was just super stoked to meet people. And at the beginning, I didn't know what all of our episodes would be, and I was surprised how easy it was for the ideas to come flowing for podcast episodes and adventures. Because at the end of the day, I was interested in just connecting with other like-minded people. Mm-hmm. Because I find people who do go on adventures, whether it be rock climbing or backcountry or whatever it is, they're passionate, they're open-minded, they're just interesting people, and they're challenging themselves and they're looking to learn. And I love living vicariously through other people, but just their personality is just super awesome. So we've had some really interesting interactions this year. Who did you really enjoy meeting?
Cody was really cool. Like, just the idea that we're going to go someplace, so we just reach out to somebody who's in that area and say, hey, we got a podcast. Do you want to be on it? And they're like, sure.
He was super sweet.
Yeah. Like he's just you can see why people would like to go climbing with him. Yeah. Right. Because he's chill. He's really competent. There's no broiness. Yeah. If that's a thing. But just a genuinely enjoyable, nice guy, and obviously super passionate about climbing. It's just, in a sense, in the climbing side of it, he's doing what we're doing.
He sure is.
Right? Well, he just wants to inspire people and teach them so that they're able to be out on their adventures and accomplish their goals.
So Cody Bradford is episode 11. He is also running Tech Tip Tuesdays. So if you're a climber, you need to follow him. It's incredibly...
On Instagram.
Yeah, it's really good. So just as an aside.
The great thing with his posts, right, which then sort of led to us having him on the podcast, is that it's techniques you can use right away. Mm-hmm. It's like things to add to your arsenal.
A lot of time saving, but safe. Techniques.
Climbing obviously is inherently dangerous by its nature, but there's a lot we can do to do it safely, right? And that's sort of what he specializes in.
Great guy, and he's from North Carolina, so it's just cool to get a glimpse of that culture and what's happening in Vegas. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of fun with one of our most recent episodes with Gus. Actually, it's out right now. And so Gus Alexandra Poulis from Ontario Climbing, shout out. Honestly, before I even met him, I heard all about what he did. He's developed over 200 plus routes with other people, and he's invested a lifelong passion and time doing this. But he started climbing in the 80s. So he's a route developer. He's also a guidebook author and a journalist. But the passion just to commit and the commitment to do these projects out of their own pockets, him and his wife, can't but help but want to thank them when you first meet them. And so that was my interaction with them at the spring fling with the Ontario Alliance of Mers meetup at Rattlesnake. And I loved the episode about the history of rock climbing and the culture and the politics, right? And how it's changed and the ins and outs and what it takes to develop a route. Yeah. That was really cool. And then we also got to climb in his personal garage converted climbing gym.
And that we recorded in there.
Yeah.
You were sitting on crash pads. He was sitting on a milk crate, and I did it standing up. Yeah, and doing the one with Gus, and he's super generous. Like he donated, basically guidebooks, basically the Northern Escarpment, Southern Escarpment, and the Rattlesnake Point sport climbing guidebook. You can get them either the hard copies or on Rack Up, which is an app.
Yeah.
And he actually donated like 3 of those for us to give away.
Yeah.
So, super, super kind to him.
Absolutely. But, one of, and there, of course, there's others too who are quite legendary in Ontario, but he's a very interesting character.
Yeah.
So definitely worthwhile getting his guidebooks to learn more about the history behind the routes and the crags, etc.
And then just knowing where to go climb.
Yes.
Good maps, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some other episodes that I had fun with. We had Sarah Duma on twice.
She's amazing.
Yeah, like she's just like kind of the Energizer Bunny.
And I think she's underrated, really. I mean, because there are others on the trek that have done the Continental Divide or A0 National Trail, and they're getting super promoted for that. And I don't feel like there's the same appreciation for what she's doing, but it's incredible. Mm-hmm. She's doing it solo. Yeah. And as a woman, going on a lot of these treks, that is more difficult, both in terms of just fear and reality. And then, quite honestly, on one of the least likeliest trails that she thru hiked, which was the El Camino de Santiago, recently, and that was the one in Spain, she was sexually assaulted. Somebody tried to assault her,
waving his wiener at him, and she just happened to. Yeah, she ran away and ran to a house, and it happened to be a cop,
right,
who lived there. So the guy got, and let's give props to Spanish justice. Within a couple of days, 2 court convicted, or I guess he pled guilty.
They weren't siestaing about this whole thing, which was really good.
Yeah. Season 2 of Live Wild Radio. If we're able to, I'd love to have her back on again too, because she just keeps doing stuff, so she's always got something to talk about.
She does, and they're epic. For going from when her first episode, she went to North Korea, right? Yeah, and then she also did the Pacific Crest Trail in the past, and she did part of the AT Appalachian Trail, whereas as I mentioned, she did the Continental Divide Trail, super isolated. And the thing to note here is that there isn't a pathway that you see all these markers. You might see markers every so often, but really the trail is probably 50 miles wide, typically.
Well, there is a trail.
Not the whole time. You're not going to see a footpath. Is what I'm talking about.
Well, you do, because enough people have done it, but it's not marked in a lot of places. It gets rerouted all the time.
Mm-hmm. But it's easy to people get lost.
Oh yeah, like
easily a couple times a day.
It's not like the AT where it's like you can see the blazes perfectly, and it's super worn. It's the latest of the big thru hiking trails to be developed. It's the newest of the Triple Crown. It's the least marked, the least broken in, the most prone to. And then there's an alternate route, and then there's an alternate route, then there's an alternate route.
Yeah, you need to have good navigation skills.
Yeah.
Although she just used her phone and
Guthrick's app.
Yeah. But nonetheless, she just does it. She's fearless. That's amazing.
So what other episodes this year did you find?
Oh, man. There's so many different ones. I mean, I enjoyed Eric from our climbing gym.
That was fun.
It was, yeah. It's called the Zen of Climbing. Eric's a climbing gym owner, amongst others. So he's a co-owner, and so he does work full time. And he has us, and his passion has been climbing for about 10, 12 years. His daughter is on the national team for Canada. And so he talked about his journey, and I love that episode because it really talks about going from being inexperienced and how to get into it, and the culture that he's experienced, indoor climbing to outdoor climbing, how welcoming people are. Often the things you got to do to get better is do the things you don't want to do. Yeah. It's like, are you afraid of overhangs? Well, I guess what you're doing, it's so true. And I'm doing that in my training right now. There are things that I freaking hate, back lunges, before lunges, whatever, but you get better. And so he's just a sweet guy. Super awesome gym in Cambridge. It's an indoor bouldering gym. And I really enjoyed that one. It's just a really neat insight. And I think it was a good insight for people that might want to get into it. And how at the end of the day, because we talked about, rock climbing, the benefits of it from, you could be, it's skill, it's teaches you to focus, face challenges and fears, right? Going for it. If you can get into the flow, you get into the zenness of it, being present. And I'm at the point right now when I'm looking at climbs that scare the shit out of me, I approach it like, all right, be playful. Okay. This is going to be fun. And I'm just going to it's like me going a kid at the playground. That's actually how I approach it. And you know what? There's a big difference in my success level.
Yeah. Well, because if you approach it like you're going to lose, right?
Or you're scared, it's going to scare the shit out of you. Yeah.
Unless, and I shouldn't say that because I approach a lot of things that scare me with the thing, and they still scare me. But I still do them as boldly as I can with the idea, well, I just saw a 12-year-old do this. Right?
Yeah. That helps.
Or basically, because anything you're doing, people have done before, right? Like we're not out putting up new routes and first ascents. So there's always that thing. It's like, well, somebody did it, and they're just a person like me. Mm-hmm. So what's the worst? I'm going to fall off.
Yeah.
I find too, breaking up any climb, even something as small as boulder problems.
Gotcha.
Into, like, if we're sport climbing, it's connect the dots, get to the next bolt.
Right.
Right. And you still want to do it clean without falling. Mm-hmm. But from a fear standpoint, I don't have any fear if I'm below the next bolt, right? And I'm clipped in.
Yes.
I'm top roping for a couple feet.
Yeah.
So, it's like you've got 5 or 6 feet of fear broken up by parts where you're not afraid. So if you just sort of break anything in, and this just goes with, we need like a little like disclaimer sound or something. Like this is an important lesson, kids, that basically everything in life, every challenge that is surmountable not in its totality, but in the small pieces that you can chip away at, whether it's one day, 1 week, 1 year, that if you consistently keep at it, you eventually get something done.
Yeah. This year I was set back with stem cell therapy on my knee, right? Because I have a bad knee. And so I tried that. So I went from indoor rock climbing at our gym. I don't know what you call the system for rating, but
they don't have one.
Okay. So, but the most I was doing maybe was a level 3, which is like a 5.9 in the roped climb gyms.
Something like that.
Something like that. But I had to drop down to a 1 and a 2 and I came back. And a lot of it was fear, right? Just because I was afraid of falling and tweaking my knee. And so,
you were just seeing that $4,500 of, hip fat that got stuck in your knee.
Pretty much.
Just going up in smoke.
Yeah, exactly. So, you just get scared. And I've still been, careful and getting back into it. But all of a sudden now I'm climbing 3s, and 3s are easy. I don't know where that came from. And maybe it's because we've been strength training on a more regular basis. And just that little bit of consistency, maybe a bit of more weight loss as well. I lost maybe 10 pounds this year. So maybe those two things combined did it. But
it all adds up, right?
Yeah, but it surprised me, right?
But it's about sticking with it consistently.
Yeah, Because we go 2-3 times? We go about 3 times a week climbing, right?
And about 3 times a week lifting weights.
Right. And then obviously trying to get in some cardio and I try.
Not very well.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat. So that really surprised me. And I think that for those that are trying to get better, there's some great programs. And I think we're going to do some more fitness articles on our blog.
And episodes as well.
And episodes, yeah.
Yeah, because it's one of the things I get a lot of questions about, with my background as a coach. You run into the thing where fitness is confusing as shit to people. And it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
One of the things just to understand is that there's more than one way to skin a cat, whether it's getting strong or getting,
Yeah.
It's not like there's one way, but whatever way you do, just diligently follow the program.
Right.
And do it consistently over time, and you're going to get better, as long as the loading parameters and all the details are right. And that's that kind of thing. It's like it becomes this metaphor for life, right? Like it's the same thing with everything.
Bite-sized chunks.
Yeah, and just keep at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is exactly what I feel like rock climbing has done for me, because I've only been doing it for a year and a half. And so, the idea of facing your fear, especially bouldering, that freaks a lot of people out. The idea of facing the fear, taking out a playful attitude towards it, breaking it down, projecting, right? And consistency, skill, of course, right? Get the footwork right, being more energy, efficient, taking some courses, whatever, but it all adds up, and it's incredible how it really does translate into your life, as far as performance and results.
Well, and now as far as episodes go, we had some sort of deep ones, like when we had Amy on. If you want to be sad and then uplifted, good episode to listen to. Then, our episodes on like challenges and fear, that's sort of an ongoing theme.
Yeah.
In all of our podcasts, because really, what is life other than confronting challenges and confronting fear?
Yeah. And it's funny because when you physically do that in adventure, I always walk away like, shit, I'm stronger than I thought I was.
Whereas I often have an inflated sense of myself and often walk away going, well, I wasn't ready for that. So it's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I think a neat guest that we had on was David Lee, that totally fucking embraced his challenge. Yeah. And he's chasing it, and bringing people along for the ride. Yeah. He's known as the passionate peaker and paddler, but he spoke about his mountain and endeavors, both more so in the winter and in the summer.
No, because he climbs mountains and if they got snow on them.
Right. He's really into that.
And then he paddles his canoe when there isn't any snow.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes water is optional.
Yeah. After he did the episode with us, because he was planning for it, went and climbed Mount Rainier and Mount Hood.
Successfully, and they did it. And they've got some great imagery and from that adventure. But that they trained for, and because but they both have body count, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Those two mountains. They're serious. Like, just for perspective for people, they're at a minimum of 17,000 feet.
No, 14.
14.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Because in North America, like in the southern 48 states...
Gotcha.
Whitney in California, which is like about 14,500, is the tallest mountain.
Okay, but they also did the Whites, the presidential range there.
Yeah.
Right, and what's that height there? Oh, that's only like 6 or 7.
66.
Yeah, so they went from 6,600 to 14,000.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big jump. Mm-hmm. So altitude, figuring that out. But that was pretty epic. And he's got some, he's chasing his childhood, or he's living his childhood dreams, right, of being a mountaineer. And when he got back, he then took a real sharp turn back into the paddling. And he's been going like every weekend, and some of them 2-3 week trips. So it's really a great... And he works full time, right? He's got a family. And so it's amazing how he manages to do that. Yeah. Just going back to Amy, what was the name of that episode again?
Life After Death.
Life After Death. Yeah, she tragically lost her husband about over 2 years ago. Despite the topic, though, the lessons out of it, of rebuilding, or what she had to go through, by accident or tragically having to rebuild her life. I think even without a tragic incident, everybody's going through that as they get older, right? Because you start to realize, wow, I'm really different from when I was younger. And now that this has happened, what do I do to live my life passionately and find my purpose and meaning, when all meaning feels like it's been lost. But I think a lot of people do go through that, as they're going through the motions with work and jobs that are unfulfilling, or et cetera, and they get off course of their childhood passions. And
and I think one of the problems so many people run into is just that idea that life just keeps coming at you, and then
you react.
You get to that point where it just feels like you're treading water, like you're just trying to keep your head above water. So lofty ideas of meaning and having passion, and and I could picture some people listening to us going, "Go fuck yourself!" Like,
yeah,
I'm just trying to have, like, oh my god, like,
for sure.
I 5 minutes of downtime is kind of like an oasis for them.
Yeah.
But for the people that, are receptive to our message, we run into the thing of like, we can be the architects of, our own futures. And that's that kind of idea of creating it and just like, that little bite-sized chunk idea, you might not have that future or life you want tomorrow, but it's one of those things that first you have sort of like a bit of a vision of like, oh, what is it I want?
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like developing a game plan and doing little steps along. And so it doesn't mean you quit your job and now I'm living in a van.
Would be cool.
Yeah. You don't do that tomorrow.
Right.
But whatever it is, with that taste of adventure, maybe it's somebody who wants to scuba dive. Maybe somebody wants, whatever.
Yeah.
Like our canvas, if you will, is backpacking and climbing.
Yeah. 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 I think that's a really interesting point you mentioned because in my case, my tragic or crisis situation was my marriage broke down, right? 3 years ago. And so I went through that similar stage of rebuilding my life. Who am I? What are my interests? What do I want to do? What prompted this podcast idea or this Live Wild Radio doing this was I actually went and saw a friend who's a life coach, and I wanted to inject in my life more passion or more, I knew something was missing. And what that thing that was missing was this, right? I mean, you and I had been doing quite a bit, but creating, collaborating, doing more, right? And so I can't believe just the little bits has led to what we've built today.
Yeah.
A full functioning website, about 20 some odd articles are super informative, with resources, free tips, to share with people how we go on adventure for free. We don't have to plan it all out. Like in Ontario, you have to buy permits and you have to know what day you're going to be where. Because for us, an adventure is having that freedom to just plan on the go.
Yeah. And although, truth be told, I will be doing articles of places where you do have to, because there's some places, like if you want to go to Algonquin, and if you've never been, it's worth going.
Yes.
It's a place with permits. You want to go to Zion in the backcountry, you need your permits. There are places that are worth going that you got to go to that trouble.
Yeah.
But Catherine's right. Like the ability to go somewhere and just be a free range chicken.
Yeah. Let's see your full on adventure, experience happen.
Yeah. And you figure it out, right? You plan the route, you figure where you're going to camp. And because any official campsites are first come, first serve.
Yeah.
We've had this before. We get in and that campsite's full. So keep going.
So we did a whole intro to backpacking series on this podcast, and we have articles that accompany it that I think are super informative, breaks down all the details, and people should check that out if they're interested or just want to learn and expand the repertoire of what's in their toolkit.
Yeah. And then finally, when we're just looking back at last year's episodes, and this is just sort of a personal peeve of mine, what you guys are missing is all of the things on the cutting room floor. Because our first episode, Catherine gave me feedback because somebody she knew listened to it. And it was one where like I had some good stuff in there. And
yeah, it was questionable.
Well, see, it was only questionable to you.
No.
I don't say anything I am not willing to stand behind.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That you say in front of your boss?
Yeah. But the feedback was, yeah, it really sounds really good, and you guys have good. But that Wednesday, he's so serious. Like, he really just takes it really seriously.
Yeah.
And it's like,
she doesn't know you.
Yeah. So, luckily we've gotten some humor in because we've gotten some feedback that some people find the podcast quite funny.
Yeah. Especially the episode with Eric and Alyssa, we were drinking.
Yes.
Yeah, I was being fully present.
As present as you can be and not be there.
I was there.
Well, basically, if that's the case.
To my defense, when I ask that question over again, sometimes it's confusing what you talked about before the podcast is being recorded and during.
I'm just seeing if that would hold up in a court of law. But hey,
I was drunk.
Yeah, we'll give it to you.
Okay.
You weren't really drunk.
I was buzzing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so You guys judge if any of it's funny.
Because sometimes it's important to know that you can't always trust a fart. Sometimes they get away from you.
Sometimes, yes. Well, we've had the sphincter discussion, so
Yeah.
the body has many of them. Yeah.
So,
You can edit that out if you
I
need
will.
to as well.
Yeah, like we could not resist. We stopped at the Walmart and we played both the Get Backpacker Food, because Walmart is the best place for backpacker food. And then we also played the game of Spot the People of Walmart. And because when you walk out of a place, and Catherine can attest to this, like as we were leaving, I just looked at her and went, "We should live in this town because we're hot here."
and so tell us about what are your aspirations? Like, where you want to go with this? Is that too early in the conversation?
It really is.
No,
like
no.
So forget about casual, like, working, like it's just like, your mom died. How do you feel? Way to go, Catherine. You realize this is a podcast, Catherine.
Catherine's gone. We lost her.
We've seen videos of vans that have, 3 kids? 2 adults, 3 kids.
And you know what's happening at that point? Mama and Daddy ain't never getting laid. You kick your kids out. You put the "don't come knocking if the van is rocking"
You
sign.
can lock the doors. It's pretty easy,
Ma, you get leash. They don't go anywhere. Ding, 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 ding. Mom, I'm hungry. Drop some cookies. That'll give you the 5 minutes Dad needs. When I broke my shoulder and I got my X-rays, in the ER, and the little Korean doctor said, "Oh my God, if it happened to me, I'd break in half. You bit like a bear." See, I've never done that impression. She keeps waiting for me to do it on air, so I thought I'd do it this time.
There you go.
You're welcome.
It was like I literally had Tom Vu, the infomercial guy, as a doctor. "You think these girls with me because I'm rich? Or no, it's because I sexy? No, it's because I'm rich. Your girls, you got rich too." That's Tom Vu. Like, you can find his commercials if you like. There's nothing like eating like a pot brownie and watching like late night infomercials. Especially like when it gets to be 2-3 in the morning, on like just when that pot brownie is just kicking in. And you're just like, I think I must live in the Matrix. I screwed the pooch. I didn't put fresh batteries in the
You're
recorder.
talking too long.
Oh,
That's what happens. You talk too much.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, I've got to put a lot of stuff because Catherine edits most of what I say out.
that's true. Try and get some of it in there.
Do you guys fight about that?
We do.
Yeah?
Only if it's like we can see.
Oh, no.
Which, do you know that you're long-winded?
Oh yeah.
Do you think?
So,
I thought I was the only one because you started to say that I have a very small attention span.
Well, that is true too. Because like there's times like I'm just saying it, like the last episode, like the Yumi and Ryan doing the episode on climbing.
Yeah.
Like, and Ryan and I were like talking about like gear and blah blah blah.
That's
What's
not
it
my
episode?
thing.
And she's just like literally putting her head on the table, like she was just like completely. I'm done.
Well, at the end, you repeated, "Okay, guys, we're gonna have, sign off," and I'm like, "You said that for the 3rd fucking time."
Whoa, guys, welcome to counseling with Eric.
So hopefully, now that you've just listened, hopefully you found something funny, because whether you enjoy our sense of humor or not. So now that we've talked about sort of our first year of episodes, let's talk about our own lives in the last year, right? Because we are like an adventure podcast, so if we don't go on adventures,
We suck.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, tons of climbing. So we went to Vegas.
well, before that, I did one without you.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a reason I can't remember. Yeah. Where'd
Went
you
to
go?
Seneca Rocks in West Virginia.
Oh, that's cool. That's got the shark's fin.
Yeah,
Ooh, how high is that?
about 400 feet high.
Wow.
But it's on top of like 1,000-foot rise, so it seems much higher than
Looks
that.
super flaky. as far as the rocks, because there's a bunch of broken rocks all on top of each other.
Yeah, but nothing's flaky. There is the occasional loose bit here or there.
Yeah.
But it's quartzite, so it's like a hard rock.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's all trad. So yeah, it's not something that it's multi-pitch trad.
Yeah.
And old school grades. Mm-hmm. Like 5.4 feels like 5.8. And slippery as shit because it's worn.
Yeah.
But beautiful and awesome.
Yeah. So we initially throughout the year, we focused a lot on climbing because I actually had some stem cell therapy done on my knees, I mentioned. So I had to take the impact off of my knees from things like mountaineering in the winter. Like we usually go to the Dax, the Adirondacks.
Yeah, a few times in the winter.
Yeah, but we went to Vegas, and that was my first climbing trip outside of Canada. And that was pretty cool. That was Red Rock.
Yeah.
So just outside of Vegas, about not even just 5 minutes, there's over 2,000 routes.
It's
more
than that.
More than that.
Like the guidebook's got 3,500 in it. So what you run into is that there's essentially what looks like a range of mountains that are all split by these canyons. Red Rock, Canyon Conservation Area, basically just has a loop road that goes through it. Once you get on it, you're not getting out until you go all 11 miles through it.
Yeah.
But what's cool with it, though, is that all along there's these different car parks that lead you off to different either cliffs or trails up side canyons and mountains. And it's just an awesome place. If you're in the conservation area, you're going to have a ton of tourists. Mm-hmm. But
they don't go very far.
No. And if you're a climber, you just go out. Like, there'll be the occasional areas that are a little bit busy, but there's both sport climbing, trad climbing, multi-pitch climbing, so it's kind of got everything.
Yeah, that's where I did my first 100-footer, Frailty Thy Name.
Yeah, on the Shakespeare wall.
Yeah, that was really cool. I got my epic shot. Shout out to Ryan, our friend. Ryan came along with us, so it was the three of us. We never did an episode about that trip, which we should. We've got fantastic photos.
Yeah.
And so we did that. We did my first. I have a slight fear of heights, by the way, which I'm starting to really get over.
No, but you just got to start saying, "I don't have a fear of heights."
Yeah, it's
positive
lessening.
Self-talk.
But it was the first time that I was able to just look at the wall and not worry about the sharp rocks down below me. Yeah, it was really cool. That was really, really cool. And of course, the rock's grippy as heck. So, and then I did my first multi-pitch, which was maybe Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, it's a 600-foot route, but we did 450 feet of it.
Once we got off that, I was done. Because I really realized, even though all I had to do was climb, I was in the middle. I never had to belay. I didn't have to lead anything. I was scared. I just wanted to get off that rock, and I wanted to take formal lessons. So that was something else I did later on. Throughout the year, I took some climbing lessons, anchors, top roping, sport climbing. Did my first lead climb this year.
Yeah, and we'll give a shout out to Steve from the Bad Beta podcast with Catherine's climbing guide.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I highly recommend him.
Kind of like sarcastic, dry humor he does on the podcast. He's just like a really sweet, patient, great teacher in person.
He's an awesome teacher. Yeah, I highly recommend getting classes with him. But that was a really awesome trip. Like, we ran into a ton of Canadians. We stayed at the climbers camp just across the road. We were, skating out to see if we could find Alex Honnold because we knew he lived in the area. We went to the desert climbing gym. Is that what it's called? The Desert Rose?
Desert Rock.
Rock, where he climbs. Of course, that's where we met Cody. So it was a pretty epic trip. And then we went up to just 45 minutes drive from this area, but it's really on the other side of the mountain range of Red Rock Canyon is Mount Charleston. So you gain about, you go from, I think, 2,000 feet at sea level, I think, to...
you go from about 2,700 feet to 8,000.
Yeah, so you gain some elevation. And
that's the trailheads up there. Like, the summit's almost 12,000 on that mountain.
Yeah.
So we went from 100-degree temperatures down in the desert to hiking in the snow.
We did because it was just getting too hot. Yeah, so then when you go up to that elevation in Mount Charleston, it was back to the 17s, 15s in Celsius.
Yeah.
So it was
but
super
sunny, so it was comfortable.
It was perfect climbing
Yeah.
weather. And great hiking there as well. So we went to some of the crags where, I think Adamandra and others have climbed and they've put up routes, right? No? Who would put up those routes?
Jonathan Segrist,
Gotcha.
like haunch American dude, not some
Yeah.
Slovak wonder boy.
Yeah.
But either way, you've still got more climbing.
I
things
almost
to
said
learn.
rest in peace. It's not terrible. That was Brad Gobright.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Anyways,
basically,
still
climbing's
sad.
dangerous. So, always put a knot in the end of your ropes, please,
Yeah.
to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that trip. I just love the U.S. Southwest. Like, I could be on the tourist board, whether it's Utah or Nevada or Arizona.
It's gorgeous.
The peak of summer sucks. So up here in the summer in the woods, what we run into is getting eaten alive. It's like hot and muggy, right? Down there, the bugs aren't as bad, but like 40 Celsius is like a thing, and you literally dry.
Yeah, people were pretty much closing down the season for hiking and climbing and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
come the summer, they all leave. So it's a great place to definitely go in the shoulder season.
Spring and fall.
Yeah, which we're going back again this year, but a month earlier.
Well, we were in May last year. We're going
we?
April this year.
So at the beginning of April.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really
No,
excited.
actually, we were there because we went.
Was it June?
No.
No.
This last year we went at the end of April.
Okay, so we're going at the beginning of April.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be really cool. And this year we're going to go backpacking and climbing.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But and then we went to the Adirondacks a few times. We just did our fall trip backpacking. Half the time was climbing, half the time backpacking. And I planned it. So that was a first for me with you.
Yeah, because in case people, haven't figured out, basically I'm kind of like I'll come up with everything kind of guy. And so the last trip, Catherine planned it all.
Yeah.
Both what we were going to do climbing, what our route was backpacking.
Yeah.
And basically it was good.
It was. And you were surprised that I wanted to do Chap upon Slab, this 850-foot slab climb rated 5.6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's only because of the first time you did it earlier in the year.
Yeah.
You said, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah, I was cursing your name the whole time. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, because you had recommended my kids this would be a great climb for them to do, and I was
Yeah,
just
they
like,
do it easier than you.
Yeah, no, they would not.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be
chill.
crying.
No, they'd be so relaxed.
No, Hudson would
They'd-
be freaking out.
They'd enjoy like picnicking up on a ledge, overlooking the valley.
I guarantee you they would not. Guarantee it. They've not even done more than 70 feet.
I have more faith in your children than you do. And the great thing is with kids, because I lead everything,
Yeah.
is that if they have a problem, I just drag them up.
You'd scar them for life with that.
No, that's
time.
where growth comes from.
Oh, I don't think so.
No. That's why you have soft children.
I have soft children. I do not. They've been backpacking since they were 3.5 and 4.
But they're still soft.
Yeah, no.
All the-
You're saying, you know what? We should bring out that meme. I tell you, we can find. There's a meme with that cat, that white cat,
and
where there's like the
angry yelling
housewife.
Yeah.
And so, what is she saying? Yeah,
You said this was an easy hike.
easy hike, and you're like,
And the cat's like, yeah, but did you die?
that's exactly.
That's pretty much my approach to...
That's our relationship. Although I don't freak out like that. I'm usually just not happy. But I get through it.
But see, that's the thing. That's why I continue to do trips with you. It's sort of a nice balance.
Yeah.
You've mellowed me a little bit.
Have I? Yeah.
And I've raised your game,
Yeah.
right? You're welcome.
So, what else did you enjoy? What else? What other adventures did we do?
Well, it was fun. We went to the Beaver Valley Climbing Festival this year.
Yeah, that was my first.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And climbed at the swamp. And then
That whole area is so beautiful. It's the most beautiful for me, Ontario crag climb that I've ever been on.
Yeah. And then the week later, we went back again.
Yeah, we took my kids.
Yeah. And we did one climb after a 45-minute hike in.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
Remember Amanda was going, like taking it basically, I think it was her. Oh, I have a tummy ache. And then you're being a good mom. Okay, we go. And then like partway out, she's like, yeah, can we go swimming and stuff? Because it's like, I thought you had a tummy ache.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We're leaving because you have a tummy ache.
It was a bit of a hike in. I don't know why that happened. Maybe we started too late in the day. So, yeah, that's
No, but we still went swimming afterwards. No, she just manipulated us.
Yeah. And that was such a cool place even just to hike around.
And the climbs were awesome.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's like it has all these crevasses, and there's some great cave climbing, which not cave exploring that I haven't done. I know you've probably done that in the past. And
No, that's at Metcalf, the caves.
is it? They have caves at this one too, don't they?
Not the same.
Gotcha. So Metcalf is really beautiful.
Yeah.
They both are great crags. And
Yeah.
so Gus and his crew developed the swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's shout out to him again. And then we took the kids out to New York. We went to Rock City,
Yeah.
which is a great little spot. And then we went to Pennsylvania Allegheny National Park. Forest, thank you. Went on the Morrison Trail. It's super easy, all downhill and then uphill again. But yeah, that was when Amanda, as we're by the creek and the waterfall, she just looked back at me. There's all this moss-covered rock, and it's just like picture fairy tale forest. You know, there should be like pixie dust in the air and stuff. And she just looked at me and said,
I believe
Mom.
pixie dust actually is technically cocaine.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. But she looked at me and said,
Keep your
"Wow."
kids away from pixie dust, people.
Yeah, she was in complete awe. And I'm like, yes. And then Hudson, he was like so happy. He loved it. Yeah, it was the guys. The guys were up ahead. He was
Yeah.
a trooper. And then we took them out to Queen Elizabeth Wildland as well, in Ontario, east of Aurelia. That was fun.
That one was neat because, after the kids had gone to bed, we were sitting out on the peninsula of rock that goes out into the lake, Sheldon Lake. And, you're looking up at the stars. It's nice and relaxing. And then you swear it was fucking Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
And the search and rescue helicopter. It's like we have our headlamps off so we can look at the stars. And it was like this just big ass chopper with like searchlights and flashing lights just comes like zooming in and starts doing like a search pattern, like they're circling.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to find something.
Yeah.
Turns out we didn't find this out for a couple of days because it had dropped sort of in one of the bays. It had dropped down below the tree level, so we couldn't see it, and then came up and then took off. After about 45 minutes. Turned out somebody had called for some unknown medical issue, and even though it's like an only 5K hike in, it's not the kind of place you can get in easily.
No, it's not. It's a little bit technical. We had to cross 3 beaver dams and then go down maybe a 15, 20-foot climb.
Steep bit of rocky bit. Scramble.
Yeah, close to the beaver dam. So, yeah, and it's actually really cool because we are hoping to connect with a real-life paramedic who does search and rescue in helicopters in the backcountry. And so he lives in Cambridge, and yeah, well, hopefully we'll have him up on the episode at some point to talk about what not to do.
Yeah.
The common what not to do. You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what we've done this year. And then, obviously regular little weekend hikes, going to the local crags, working out, training.
a ton. We've really stepped it up because we have should we tell them about our...
Like our it's not a New Year's resolution because we started well beforehand.
No, but it's our project.
Yeah.
Personal project.
Well, because it all comes down. We're going down, going to be climbing at Red Rocks again.
Yeah.
In April. Well, the reality comes in: the lighter you are, the better you will climb. Especially like if you got some extra on you, like I do. So we're both like, I think, what is your target? Like 30 pounds?
35 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mine's like 45.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those.
It's reasonable. It worked out for me about a pound and a half a week, although I'm going in the other direction. It's not good. Because I lost 4 pounds and I've gained 4 pounds.
So you've lost no pounds.
Sorry, I've lost 2 pounds or 3 pounds and I've gained like 5.
Oh, so you're going negative.
Yeah.
Or positive.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to figure that out.
It's just
I'm
sort
back
of
on track.
being consistent.
So that's something we're working on, but we're being more diligent. I like the program that we're on. I tweaked my knee recently, which is a pain in the friggin' ass. So I'm having to try all these different roundabout ways to still work on my glute medius and we're getting all these occlusion bands and all these toys to help us with my training, so I don't have to do the full weight, but still get the same effect.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. So, anyways.
Yeah, because basically for those who've never heard of this, blood flow restriction training is really kind of a wild thing. Like it works for the arms and the legs. So there's bands you'll put on either your upper arm or your upper thigh and cinch it down to a prescribed tension, and it actually restricts blood flow. You can get a really good training benefit out of it, but with really light weights, because your body's not getting as much oxygen to the muscles. So it gets these growth stimulus signals that you'd need much heavier weights to get. So when you're dealing with an injury, it's a way to get a training stimulus with a very light weight, not lose the muscle while the joint's healing. And also, if you do the arm ones, like you can get like a super veiny pump and look all jacked.
Yeah, you know what? It's almost worthwhile me writing an article, the alternate ways to, work, strengthen your lower body when you have knee issues. Because I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, including working with deep tissue massage, because a lot of the problem I'm having is a lot of tight muscles. Mm-hmm. That's causing the knee pain. It's torquing the knee in the wrong direction, for example. So there's some interesting things going on that I think people might be interested in. Anyway, I hope that we'll this winter do some mountaineering, some winter camping. As far as taking kids out, we are going to the Gatineaus for the Christmas holidays.
Which happened already.
That's true. Yeah. So that's something that's coming up. By the time this comes out, it will have already happened. Yeah. And so the idea there is that they're not ready to go winter camping yet, but we're staying in Airbnb. But the idea is that we'll be snowshoeing all day. Or as much as possible. And like last year, there was no snow where we went. We're in an area close to Ottawa that we can still enjoy the city or the museums and whatnot if we need to break it up. But that's some ideas that if you ever want to take your kids or your family and do a bit of both. Look for destinations that have a bit of tourism, but nearby it's got the wilderness. So
yeah, and then late spring we'll hit the Dax again.
Yes.
And that always just depends how much snow they have. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to hit, like maybe February, go down for a weekend, or like the red. Yeah, that basically down in Kentucky. That'd be cool to get down to.
Yeah. So what do you want to do in February in the Dax? Like what specifically?
Oh, climb a mountain.
Yeah. Which one? Any one that you're thinking of?
We'll go up Gothics.
Holy shit! Really?
Why not? You're gonna need. You got crampons, so you're gonna need an ice axe now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So now my fear will be of me like
sliding off the side of a mountain.
That too, but stabbing myself with that ice axe as I fall down the mountain because I don't use it right.
Well, that's why we'll practice on toboggan hills.
Yeah, totally.
Self-arrest on toboggan hills.
Yeah, but then I could hurt my knee. Oh, well, I know I'm going wah, wah, wah.
If you go outside, you can hurt your knee.
No, but...
But what?
Yeah.
You're the one that said you wanted to do mountains.
I do.
But you don't want to...
But Gothics freaks the shit out of me because I keep thinking of that wire... because it's got that slide, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously going up in the winter is going to be way easier than the summer. That's an avalanche area. Yeah. Well, that's how you have that slide. And you want to go up that?
Well, there's more than one way up the damn mountain.
Not right? Where the slide is, right?
It depends what the conditions are. Like if there's a big sheet of ice over that, then you can just walk right up it.
No.
Right? Because it's too steep for snow to build up.
No, I don't want to do that. That sounds too risky.
Well, then just sit in your padded living room.
Oh, fuck off. No, but seriously. No, that's a little bit much.
Oh, okay.
Let's do another mountain that doesn't have like
that
doesn't have evidence of avalanches happening here.
Well, no, but the reason why it's too steep for there to be avalanches because snow can't build up on it.
Oh, I thought that was an avalanche path.
No.
You're suggesting to go up
That's why there's no dirt on it.
Oh, okay.
Dirt won't stick. It's too steep.
No, I thought it was, okay.
Now, if we went up the Gothic slide, which is
that's what I'm talking about, the Gothic slide. That's what I thought you want to go up.
No, because that's not the slide.
Oh, okay.
The slide is the exposed side of the mountain that doesn't have a trail on it that you rock climb up. That's an avalanche risk.
Like, where's that picture taken with you and Kaylee,
That's just on the trail.
where she's got that wire,
Yeah.
and that's what you want to go up?
Well, I don't know. Because you can go up the other side too. We didn't
Okay.
go up that way.
All right,
There's different ways.
we'll see. Yeah,
More than
Okay.
one way to skin a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should bring Sarah with us. I feel more comfortable with her. And you're like, what?
Which Sarah?
Sarah Duma.
Which she?
You scare the shit out of me sometimes. You do.
Well, that's
Yeah, your kids can go do Chap upon Slab, no problem. Ha ha ha. And then you're doing it like, holy fuck.
what I'm doing it and going holy fuck.
No, but you're having us do it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not true. Like, a kid's not going to love this.
Well, I didn't say they would love it. I said they could do it.
I'm so scared that it was one of those learning moments.
Yeah, everything is a learning moment. Listen, I'm the one leading all of it. I'm the one taking the actual risks. Right? Like, basically, your level of fear is not proportional to your risk. Right? Because if you fall, what happens?
Yeah, hang in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the big deal? Like, the only reason to be all freaked out is if you don't think I can make a good anchor.
I know.
You don't
Yeah.
know, because if you did know, then
I know. I get it. It's just scary.
Yeah. Well, that's what. But don't you like follow any of those Instagrams that tell you, girl power, and you should do something that scares yourself every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So these are some of the things that we're going to be working on for this year. Guests as they come up, will obviously basically be sort of setting up interviews and it'd be kind of neat. Like, one of the things I'm hoping to do is, like, certain people, like, I'd love to have Gus on again. Mm-hmm. I know we just had him on,
Right.
but having somebody who, even if it's just an excuse to go climb at his garage, but he's an interesting character
He
as far as
is.
the climbing scene goes.
He is.
Obviously, maybe when we go down to Vegas this year, we can talk to Cody again. Mm-hmm. There'll be like people who, we're just friends with. So,
Well, even David Lee would be really interesting as he's growing in his
Yeah.
adventures, right? And he's getting to more, at least he's sharing his photography with people. I think that's kind of cool.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
it's one of those things.
I'd love
of
to
just-
meet with some people in the DAX. I
Yeah.
think it'd be really cool to get like a forest ranger to talk about.
You mean for the podcast? Yeah.
I would, yeah.
Because I don't know.
Anyway,
Because like when we were down last, because I listened to a podcast called Foot Stuff, and it's a bunch of guys in the Adirondacks, and then you'd reached out to them to be, say, hey, we're gonna be down. You
here's some,
interested?
we'll bring some beer.
Yeah, some wolves and so it was the thing. We didn't hear back from them. That's cool. And then we're in Old Mountain Coffee, like in Keene Valley, getting a coffee. And the guy who's making my coffee, it's like, "Are you on Foot Stuff Podcast?"
He's like, yes.
It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, I really like your show, man.
Yeah.
And it was funny because then I'm probably a bit of a dick, but it's like, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I got a podcast too. Like, we reached out, but we just didn't hear anything back. And he's like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I saw the email. It's really hard to get all four of us together.
Yeah.
Like, data. It's like, no worries, dude. And then when we were out actually in the, like,
Trail.
yeah, hiking down, Avalanche Pass, one of the other guys is one of the caretakers in there. So
That's
that's like his
right.
job. He hikes into the backcountry and looks
Yeah.
after the trails and
And he's
the,
chatting up with us to make sure we're prepared.
Yeah,
And-
doing
the weather,
his job.
because 3 days later it snowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the weather's changing.
and then it's like he is like, okay, cool. So you guys have a good trip. And then he starts walking. It's like, hey, wait a sec.
Hey,
Are you on Foot Stuff Podcast? And he's like, oh, yeah.
we should get a T-shirt that says, "Are you on Foot Stuff Podcast?"
It's like, you.
Yeah, it's a small world.
So it's very funny to,
Yeah. I'm hoping, like, my dream is that we'll get to a point that wherever we want to go, we'll meet people who, maybe listen to us or follow us, and then we can just hang out with them. Just not the crazies, but
yeah. Now,
all of a sudden they're going to start inviting us. And
yeah.
yeah.
Blood sacrifices and everything.
No, but I think that's cool. That's what I love, is the community. And
Yeah. And well, one of the neat things with it too is that podcasts and like, you know, online communities have become a lot of people's tribe. Like you go to work and, you know, depending on where you work, there might be nobody there that gets any shit that you do.
That's true.
Right? Like I work in the outdoor business, so I deal with people. Like I work with people that are into this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Like that's just my peeps. But you know, you depending on what field you work in, if this is stuff you love, finding people that love it too, sometimes can be difficult. And that's one of the cool things. It's what I love about the climbing community. Unlike backpacking, climbers have a lot more hang around time. Right? You tend to camp in the same areas.
Yeah.
You're hanging around. It's not like if you're hiking, you just go. Right? And so there's never a point where you congregate. But if you're out cragging, you're all hanging around the bottom of the cliff all day.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, yeah, you're moving back and forth along the bottom,
Lots of
picking different
socializing,
routes. But there's much more of like a social kind of hangout scene to it.
Especially at the campsites.
Yeah. And then the fact that like if you climb with people, there's much more of a bond because you're sharing the risk together.
Totally.
And you know, there's something that definitely comes like whoever your climbing partner is. Because you literally have each other's lives in your hands, you know? And so there's a connection that comes there that's sort of different than just hiking
Except for
with
when you
somebody.
put your hands on your hips like I...
And take your hand off your belay rope. All the things that, you know, you're not supposed to do. That's why I gave you a device that is assisted braking in case you just decide I'm not going to do my job no more. Yeah.
Just let me explain that. We were at Kelso.
Yep.
And you're on the easy 5'1", 5'2".
Yeah, because I was teaching some people how to lead climb and place trad gear.
You got to basically to a ledge where you start, and all of a sudden you guys were like fucking around, and it was no more climbing, and I got super relaxed waiting.
No. See, do you know why I was standing around there?
I can't remember why exactly,
because my number 3 cam. Somebody named Catherine got jammed in the raw.
That was not my fault.
You know? And so Spencer and I were like jumping up and down and whacking it with rocks trying to get... So if anybody wants like an old number 3, like Black Diamond Camelot,
go at it.
The top of the pillar at the corner route at Kelso.
At the beginning of it.
Yeah. It's right there.
For the taking.
Forever.
If you can... Hey, it's good pro.
It ain't coming out. So we had to buy ourselves a new number 3.
Yes.
You know, so I'm going to put it off to the future to teach Catherine how to place trad gear. Like trying to grab
everybody learn.
Trying to jam a blue one right next to where there was a yellow one.
You know what? It's not a straightforward thing. Therefore, you know, this is why, you know, Stephen was so great at on the rocks. Like, you know, super patient and going through the steps. So
yeah. So you learn some stuff, and then, you know, hopefully this year's another year of learning.
So it'll be cool to see how this year plays out as far as how much we accomplish in comparison to the first year. You know, when you're just measuring or benchmarking yourself. So yeah, that'll be something to marvel at a year later.
So are you happy with what we accomplished the first year?
Oh, fuck yeah. I was friended by Kathy Carlo.
Oh, that's true. another big outdoors podcast.
Yeah, for the love of climbing.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
We're sure plugging a lot of podcasts, aren't we?
We are, but that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's
you
kind
know,
of a community.
It's about exactly, and
see, that's the thing. Because we have a podcast, we're part of that community.
We are.
We can go to the podcast conventions now.
That would be very cool.
I don't know if there's such a thing.
Yeah, there should be. But in all honesty, whenever I hear people are passionate about something, I'm always like, you should YouTube channel, podcast. Let me know if you want to learn how, because it's really easy. It's not that hard. I learned a lot of, you know, social media skills, but even with the editing and the technical side and moving that forward now with maybe the YouTube channel. Doing more how-tos, but even recording our podcasts live would be pretty cool.
Yeah, like get a
we'll
little. See, that's the thing. That's
more articles. We're gonna do for our adventure blog. We're gonna put in more trip blogs now.
Yeah.
Map it
and
all
guides
out
of areas.
Yes.
because that's what I'm working on right now. I'm working on an Adirondack High Peaks backpacking guide.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a climbing guide.
Oh, totally.
And then we'll do a hiking guide. And then, for somebody else, I just wrote a seasons guide for Zion National Park.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's a case where we've got like years of different adventures. Mm-hmm. So it's digging through and finding the pictures and telling the stories.
Yeah, I'd like to do more video of our trips too, kind of like what you see other people do.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like so much work.
It is a lot of work.
Like all of it's work.
Yeah,
right?
It is. So I think the key is that once you get into a groove where you've cut down on the time of editing, and then it gives you free time to do more of other items.
Yeah, and that's sort of
we work,
Yeah, and that's one of the things that is so cool with this, though, is that we're, making videos, and they can be as good or as shitty as whatever we can pull off, right? Mm-hmm. We're writing stories, we're creating websites, we're doing, engaging in social media and learning how to make use of hashtags, and even what time of day to post.
Even the promotion, it's a bit of an art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the podcast. Like one of the things that I'm really proud of is that right from the beginning, people said it sounded good.
Yes.
And even like, I'm not a musician by any means, but even like that intro.
Yes.
Like we created that.
We did. It was cool. Yeah.
Just taking fucking sounds off the internet.
But funny enough, like your headsets don't work. Like we've gone back to the old school microphones.
Yeah.
Because of the quality of the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really dig the headsets because we kind of could look like, Britney Spears and Garth Brooks. But
See, I thought it would have been cool to, take it with us while we're rock climbing, and then we get on a ledge and we can pull out the podcast and start doing a live recording.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to do that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Probably gonna pick up a lot of wind though. Unless you're really that good, you can just take a mic and have the cord all wound up tightly against your belt, and next thing you know,
clipped to your harness, and
yeah. That'd be funny, actually.
Yeah, because
we should take a photo.
That's one of the things that a lot of people don't get about the outdoors, like any kind of like, because studios, like they're created to not have any background sound. Mm-hmm. Whereas outdoors, all it is background sound,
which could be really cool. But when it's windy, it doesn't work. Yeah,
that doesn't sound good.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get into portage this year? Probably not. Maybe no.
Well, we don't have any plans for any big wall climbs.
Yeah.
So if you want to rent a portaledge and like put it 6 feet off the ground just to sit there,
just for fun,
we could do that. But
it gets shivers up my spine. Not at 6 feet.
No.
Obviously, we do it higher, but
the whole multi-day big pit or big wall climbing is a whole thing. Like you've got to get to the point where you're also
you got to have some skills.
Yeah.
I got to have some skills.
Yeah. Like I've done it before.
I know.
I'm not claiming any greatness, but it comes into a thing where because now you're managing hauling all your gear.
Yeah, and not losing it.
Yeah. So it's all the systems of I climb, then you release the haul bag. Once I get all the anchors set up, you are jugging the line and cleaning.
Wow, there's a lot of logistics.
I'm hauling, then I'm docking the bag.
Yeah, Don't lose your rope, or not that you would, but
no, but it's that kind of thing where like there's all of these, just keeping your belays organized.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's more than just sort of normal multi-pitch climbing.
Yeah.
Right. And that it's cool.
That would blow my mind.
Yeah, but it's a different beast.
Yeah.
And then of course, setting up camp at 500 feet off the ground.
Mm-hmm. And sleeping restfully, peacefully.
And then cooking there. And
oh, yeah.
And then imagine getting like stranded for a couple of days because a rainstorm comes in.
Fuck.
Right? You get your little tent over your portaledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole thing just buffets around.
And you're like...
You're sleeping in your harness. And then
probably cold and wet if anything gets in.
And then of course the thing of like when you got to take a dump.
Oh my God!
You're dumping into a wag bag with your ass hanging off the portaledge.
Getting frostbite or
you're not going to climb in that cold. But
I know.
But and then you've got to put it in your poop tube.
Yeah.
So literally on the outside of your haul bag, you'll have like a PVC pipe that you've capped.
Yeah.
that then all of your wag bags go in
Yeah.
because you got to manage your poop, right?
Yeah.
So these are all the logistics of big wall climbing.
So yeah, student at 6 feet off the ground is probably a way to start.
You know, it's
And
like,
then go
look, you've had a portaledge experience.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
these are, but if you, because I both love and loathe big wall climbing.
Yes.
But if you want to get into it, we'll give it a couple of years of growing into it because there's
Yeah.
all these different other skills to build.
Yeah, totally.
We have ascenders,
I know.
you know.
Yeah.
So we're almost there.
Yeah.
Huh? Moonlight Buttress and Zion.
Oh God.
You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna need a more pro too.
Yeah.
So more excuses to buy more gear.
Okay.
So that's going to be one of our fire off goals.
Okay.
That
I need to put this on paper.
you brought it up. So I think this is a good place to wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
So anybody who's been, whether you're a new listener, you've been listening since the beginning, truly I want to thank everybody.
Yeah.
Like basically people who listen to what we're doing and hopefully if they keep listening, like what we're doing, is the only thing that separates us from being the crazy people that just, kind of yell off into the night, is that actually having people that listen and that you connect with. And so I just want to say thank you.
Likewise. Yeah.
And feel free to reach out to us if there's stuff you want to know about or you'd love us to do an episode on, anything like that. We're always open to ideas.
Totally.
And here's to another year.
Cheers. Where's our drink? Ah!
With-
Okay, copy. Cheers.
Yep. And until next time,
I'm Catherine.
I'm Winston.
Work hard.
Play dirty.